What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today is actually not a reaction. As you can tell by the title below, it is actually, we are doing my season 7 recap. Well, we'll be going through what I liked, didn't like, you know, my favorite episodes, least favorite episodes, etc., etc. So I have actually just finished watching the finale, so that is all fresh in my mind. And so yeah, so let's just go through the season as a whole, and let's talk about this season. I do want to talk about your opinion on a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, and I would say it's also at the end of the video. But please, 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 in the comments and in everybody's response, please, I am happy that you have different opinions than me. I am happy that you have different opinions than everybody else. But in the conversations, let's have it be respectful, and let's make it a place where people who freaking love this show can have a friendly conversation about things that we liked and didn't like about this this season, about characters, and etc. So please keep this civil, because if you do not keep this civil, if you are rude and being an asshole, you will be banned. It's just, you're gonna be blocked. It's just, I'm not putting up with it. So on that note, let's get into talking about this season. As a whole, honestly, not my favorite season. And I think a lot of that has to do with, I know there was a writer's strike, so a lot of it was jumbled, and so we're gonna get into my dislikes first, because let's face it, let's get the bad stuff out of the way, so we can talk about all the good, right? We like to end on happy notes. So one thing I didn't like was there's just too many storylines going on. There was too much. I felt like it was all crammed in. There's too much they were trying to pack into this season. And I do know that there was a writer's strike, and then I think Veritas was supposed to be the last episode, and then it wasn't, so they had to scramble and doing all these things. So I totally get that. So it's not really the writer's fault. It's not the show's fault. It's just, it kind of happened. And I think the same thing kind of happened with season 4, because I remember in season 4, I think you guys are telling me that it's around when Christopher Reeves died, so they had to scramble, and a couple other things were happening behind the scenes that they had to scramble. And those are the seasons that kind of, you know, dropped the ball a little bit. I'm not saying it was a bad season at all. I just felt like there were way too many storylines. There's too much to follow, too much to keep up with. And it was all just a lot. That sometimes it felt like it went nowhere, and like the storylines didn't go anywhere. And I think we'll get more into that here in a second. So yeah, so too many storylines. I felt like they packed way too much into this season, because you had Kira coming in, you had them dealing with the family of the House of El, you had all the drama with that, we had all the Klana drama, we had Bizarro coming in, then you had Brainiac, then Veritas. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so much is happening, and it was a lot to try and keep track of. So that was one of the things I didn't like. I think they could have cut away with one or two of those storylines, and I think it would have been a little bit more linear. And speaking of a storyline, I felt like they really could have cut and should have, was Grant Gabriel. I hated him. He was awful. I hated his character from the jump, which is really sad, because I liked him in the OC. But the character, the way he was, I felt like he was just, you know, a young man trying to be someone he wasn't. And like, he was trying to be this like ace reporter guy and ace editor and trying to be this hard ass. I just never bought it. I don't know if it was a miscast. I don't know if it was just the character in general was not good. I hated him. I did not like his character at all. I thought he was a jackass, and like, it's just, it didn't work. And I didn't like his character. I didn't like his love story with Lois. I thought I hated that story altogether. First of all, I hated him, and on top of that, I hated Lois being the one that's having like an affair with her editor. Like, that's just, why is this necessary, Smallville? Why are we doing this? So I don't like how that portrayed her as a character. And I remember Chloe saying that everyone's just going to think that you got this job because, you're sleeping with your boss, and that's true. So everyone, even though it's not true that that's why she got the job, it is true that that's what people are going to think. And so it actually does Lois a big disservice, and it discredits her a lot, and I did not like that. But I'll get more into this in the likes, but I did like the Lex connection, though, towards the end when it revealed who he really was. But we'll get into that when we get to the likes. And speaking of relationships, the on again, off again with Jimmy and Chloe got kind of annoying, because I think even the writers were like, wait, are they together or are they not? Like, I think in Gemini, like when they kissed in the elevator, I thought they were together. And then a couple episodes later, they're like, I think we should get back together. I'm like, wait, weren't you already back together? Like, wait, what are we doing? And I feel like since he was introduced in season 6, it's been this on again, off again roller coaster. And I'm just like, guys, just pick one. And even Jimmy mentioned it in the finale. It's like, I know we've been on again, off again. And I'm like, yeah, you have. So that's kind of annoying. Like, I wish that they could just be together. Like, they have their problems, sure, and have their fights and their arguments. That's fine, because that is what makes good television. But can we not just have them break up because of it every other episode? That'd be great. Thank you. The other thing I didn't like, so this is kind of the mix between like and didn't like, was because I liked Kara as a character. I just didn't like how they used her. So, like, I felt like she was used sporadically. Like, they brought her in for 2 or 3 episodes, and then they found a way to get rid of her for 2 or 3 episodes, and she came back for an episode, then left. They came back, then left. Back. I'm like, what are we doing with her? And then, like, when she lost her memory and everything like that, you're like, oh my God, like, Lex is gonna find out that she's an alien and she has powers. Like, that ended up leading nowhere. Like, it didn't move the plot along whatsoever. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I felt like it wasn't really going anywhere after we got through all of the family drama and all the cool things that they were doing with the House of L family drama. But it was just like, what are we doing with getting amnesia and then like Detroit and what? So that whole part I didn't necessarily, I thought it was a cool idea, but like how they implemented it was not great. And I think that's where you'll find a lot of my dislikes is I like the idea and the thought process, but I didn't like the execution. So there's that. And then the Veritas retcon, I thought it was a cool thing to bring in, but like the Veritas window, like, I'm sorry, we have been seeing that window for 6 seasons and it had never had the V. So you're expecting us to believe that all of a sudden there's always been this V? Like, okay. Thought it was interesting also how they are accusing like Lionel of killing all of them. So like he killed the Teagues, but wait a minute, in season 4, they said that his dad like left, so that doesn't track. The Queens, okay, he killed the Queens, okay. But then I also don't like the fact that they said Lionel killed Swan. Like, I thought they made it that Swan was he just died of natural causes. I think that was fine, and that is, I think, shows respect to Christopher Reeves, and his Superman. I thought that was great. But now they said Lionel, like, I was like, okay, I don't really like that. So that got me all confused. And then it's like, okay, so now you look back at the whole series and you're like, how much did you know? How much did you not know? All these, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I thought it was a cool idea. It was just like the retconning everything was a lot. So you look at seasons 1 through 3, how much did he know? Did he know, like Clark had powers? Did he know all of this? When they switched bodies, what did he think happened? Like, he was supposed to all of a sudden know that there was a traveler and everything, and now what? And we've seen him, like, he had the key, like, underneath, like, around his neck all the time. But we saw so many scenes over the series where he was, like, shirtless or was getting a massage, and, like, he had no necklace on. What are we doing? So, I mean, there's only so much, I understand there's only so much you can do. I like the Veritas as an idea. And again, the ideas of what they had, I think, were good. I think the execution could have been better. I think that's a lot of my dislikes. And of course, the last thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the Kana drama. Like, I talked about this earlier in the season. Like, we know they're not going to work. They're toxic. They they're up and down and back and forth, and like I understand they love each other, and like I like Lana as a character well enough, but like I don't like them together. They don't work. They have different morals. They have different value. Like they just don't work as a couple, and we knew this in season like 6. I think with it, actually season 5. Actually, like season 5, I think we realized that they just don't work as a couple, and like you're just waiting this whole time. You know they're not going to end up together. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and you're waiting for the shit show to begin, and that's all you were waiting for. And just honestly, it just kind of felt like a waste of time. It did, and I think I mentioned this before, because everyone knows they're not going to end up together. They're not in game, so why are we wasting 7 seasons on them when they're not in game? They should have ended a long time ago. I would have loved it if after they broke up in season 5 and maybe you got over all of the like weirdness and hurt in season 6, and then I don't know, have them just be friends. Have them just be good, her knowing the secret, and just be good friends. How about that? Because I'm sorry, I'm still on this from season 6. If I break up with somebody and he ends up not only hooking up with my ex-best friend, now my enemy, not only hooks up, starts dating and gets married to my ex-best friend who's now my, like, I'm not taking this person back. We can probably get over it in terms of being able to be friends, but like, I don't know. So enough of that. We're going to go on to the likes, because there was a lot to like in this season as well. So my biggest thing was I loved the final turning point of Lex becoming full-fledged Lex Luthor. That was fantastic. It's, him, in his brain killing Alexander, and basically he's trying to be like redeem himself at the beginning, and then all of a sudden he's like, fuck that. Like, nah, I'm going to be full on villain Lex. I'm going to kill Alexander. So like my good side, my child within, they're dead. I'm full on evil. I'm going to, buy the paper and fire Chloe, kill my dad, get these keys, do whatever it takes to get these keys and control the Traveler, and find whatever I need to control the Traveler. And like that whole thing's so good. Michael Rosenbaum did amazing and full on evil Lex Luthor. Even though I will say, I do like in the first couple seasons, I do like him trying to be good with this bad side in him. But now seeing the full on, evil Lex, like there's no good in him anymore, is so good. And I'll still remember Clark saying, when he was in his mind, Clark saying to the little, Alexander, like, I'm going to be like looking for you. I'm going to be on the hunt for you to find you, see if you're still there. And it makes it so sad because like a couple episodes later, he kills Alexander. Like, he's gone. Their friendship is dead. Like, that whole thing is so good. And watching this journey of him, like, becoming that and going on this journey to get through Veritas and everything, like, oh, so good. So good. So that gets me on, the Veritas. And like I said, the execution was all right, but starting from Traveler and being introduced to Swan's kid, and then through the end, great. That was my favorite part of the season, was once they introduced Veritas. That, to me, was one of the best parts, because it had a lot had to do with what makes Smallville so good, is Lex versus Clark, and like that whole dynamic in them, like him trying to find out who the Traveler's, trying to do all of that, and the whole idea of Veritas and all of that, I thought was fantastic. I loved all of it. Well, most of it. And that was great. Like, from Traveler, we had Traveler, Descent, we had Apocalypse, all of these, like, back to like all of these in a row were so freaking good. And like you could see full steam ahead through building up of Veritas and everything that was going on, like taking the train and going down this track to end this season. It was so good. I did like I really felt like the Veritas moved the story forward. And it was great. There were a few times when I loved the Jimmy and Lois team ups. Those are always fun. I love them. When Jimmy like caught a picture in Descent, we caught a picture of Lex like pushing Lionel. That was great when they were trying to confront Lionel about the murder of Swan, like all these things. Anytime they can team up, I love it. I love them. They're so fun. I love their dynamic. And it was just classic, Lois and Jimmy. Like it brings up like the classic, Daily Planet stuff that's going to be happening. And I love that team up. It was great. And I did like Kara. I liked her as a character. I really did. I liked that she brought to the show in terms of history, in terms of family, considering both Martha and Jonathan are gone. Rest in peace. It was cool that, yes, Clark's family, human family, is gone. But I did like the fact that they brought in his real parents, biological parents. And he got to see his family, and he got to, meet his mom, and he got to see what their dynamic was like, and he got to understand Krypton more and what had happened with that and Brainiac and everything, and figure out the relationships between Jor-El and Zor-El and Laura and just, I thought that was really cool. I liked that they brought in his family and that dynamic, considering he doesn't have family anymore on the show. I mean, Martha's in Washington, so obviously she's not dead, but it was cool that they brought in, his biological family. So that was fun. I liked that idea. That was cool. I enjoyed that. We also will have, I do like that they brought back Brainiac. He was just a good villain, so conniving, so manipulative, especially when him and Bizarro. Again, a lot of different storylines that come to a head at random times. Like him just trying to find the guy with the blue, who had the blue kryptonite. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's being manipulative that way. And then at the finale, he is impersonating Kara to manipulate Lex because he wants to control Clark. So he manipulates Lex into getting to the fortress, and just how that all works, and just how powerful he is, how conniving, how smart. It's so good. That's what makes a great villain, is just his smarts is what makes him really, really dangerous. And I'm glad that Clark, killed him, because he realized he's a machine. He's not a human. But with this show, they're gonna who knows if he's actually dead at this point. But Lana and Chloe did wake up, so I'm assuming that means he's dead now. We'll see. And of course, it was only one episode, but I was glad that they introduced Black Canary. That was cool. So we got another Justice League member, and Lois got to find out about the Green Arrow and Oliver's secret. So that was cool. And of course, we have that scene at the end when, Lois is opening up to Clark and talking about, how all of her feelings came back, and, how, she can't have another heartbreak down the road and everything else. And that was so sad. It was such a great scene from them. Very parallel to the ending of this episode, or of the last episode, where she sees that Lana breaking up with Clark, and, she is there to comfort him. So, yeah. So those are the main points that I came up with. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what maybe some storylines you liked, maybe some you didn't like. And I love to have these conversations, so it's awesome. So that was the season as a whole in terms of the storylines. In terms of episodes, I'm going to give you my least favorite 3 and my top 3. So bottom 3 and top 3. Bottom 3. My third least favorite was Sleeper. I just didn't buy the whole Jimmy being a spy thing, and it did set up for the DOD to come and take Chloe at the end of the finale. So it did set up that. It was just random. I didn't buy Jimmy being like a James Bond person, and then for some reason, like Kara and Brainiac are actually in the past. Like, I don't know, I thought that was weird. Wasn't all that great, to be honest. I wasn't that into it. But I know some of you really enjoyed it, so great. Like, awesome. I'm glad you did. That's great. Number 2 was Fierce with the, like, 3 Powerpuff Girls and the beauty pageant stuff. I don't know. It felt very season 1. I was like, okay, we're past this, right? We're past this. Even though it did have some really nice, moments between Clark and Kara and, like, him being, like, a mentor to her. So, I mean, we did have those moments, but as a whole, the episode was not good. And, of course, my least favorite was Hero. Like, I was so happy that they brought back Pete, but, like, they did it in... It wasn't a good episode, wasn't a good plot. Pete was annoying, and he wasn't a good friend to Clark. Always talking about how he's in his shadow, and I was like, Pete, shut up. Like, you're being an awful friend here. And, like, I don't know. I'm really glad we got to see Pete again. It's just, I didn't like the way that Sam portrayed Pete, and it was just not great. Well, let's get into happier things, because I'm going to do my top 3 episodes. You are probably going to notice a theme in my top 3 episodes. My number 3 episode was Fracture. When I know I was kind of dumping a little bit on the whole Kara getting, like, amnesia storyline in Detroit, but it did bring us getting into Lex's mind and that whole thing and finding Alexander, and that was so cool. We got a great Superman moment with Clark when he was like, I'm going to be looking out for my friend. I'm going to be looking out for you. And, Alexander being like, you're my only friend. It's like, oh no, like, Lex. Like, he's still in there, but then, obviously he's not anymore. But that was so good. Such a great insight into the character, such a great insight into Lex. And, that was just, I loved, that was such a great episode. I really, really enjoyed that one. My second favorite one was Apocalypse, when we got to see what the world would be like if Clark didn't make it to the ship and didn't make it to Earth, and it turns out it was bad. But it was cool because we did get to see, everybody is in their rightful place, which was awesome. Like, everybody was destined to be where they're going. Like, Lois was Lois Lane. She has a Pulitzer. She's, one of the best reporters out there. Jimmy's the photographer. You had Lex being president, and you had Brainiac manipulate. So his plan originally when he came in season 5, he wanted to get the vessel ready, Lex, gets Zod out of the Phantom Zone, and basically have Zod in Lex's body and have power that way. And he was going to succeed. And the Earth was going to be destroyed. So that was really cool. You got to see so many great future, like, glimpses of future Clovis, which was awesome. And just seeing, and this Clark had the suit and the glasses, and Lex was in the white suit with the black glove and everything. Oh man, it was so good. That was one of my favorite episodes, not only of this season but of this series. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably in my top 10. And of course, number 1, how is it not Descent? I'm sorry, like, you can have other favorites, that's fine. I just don't know how it's not Descent. How that is not the best episode of the entire season is, I don't know how you can pick another one. We had Lionel dying. You had 2 of the best scenes of the entire series with the argument between Lex and Clark when they're accusing each other of killing their fathers, and Lex is like he's talking about, this is Smallville. We have the symbols and people, meteor freaks and everything else. Like, I need to do this so that I can protect the world. And like, there was A+ performance from Michael Rosenbaum, A+ performance from Tom Welling, and then at the end it had no words, and just music of them at the funeral. And it really was Lex Luthor and Clark Kent staring each other down, and it was beautiful. Like, oh, I'm still gushing about that episode. Like, I really need to just watch it again. Yeah, so let me know, what were some of your favorite episodes? Maybe some of your least favorite episodes. Let me know. I'm sure you guys disagree with me on some of these, and you know what? Great. I want to hear it. And in terms of favorite characters and least favorite characters, I'm sure you probably sensed the theme. Honestly, my least favorite character was Lana. I thought she was annoying. I hated, like, I understand where she was coming from in terms of wanting to defend herself, all the shit that the Luthors had done to her. I get it, but she went way overboard, kidnapping Lionel. Are you kidding me? And like doing all this shady shit, and she was such a hypocrite because her biggest thing this entire series has been, Clark, I need you to be honest with me. I need you to be truthful with me. Like, tell me the truth. Let me in. Let me know. And the first thing she does when they're finally together and she knows everything is hiding secrets from him and hiding everything from him. And the only time she actually tells him the truth is when she's threatened. So she never actually wanted to let Clark know what she was doing. So that was just so annoying. And I didn't like the dark side that Lana took. I can understand her being like a little bit more self-sufficient, being able to take care of herself, all these things, but like the things that she did with spying on Lex and stealing his money and kidnapping Lionel, I'm like, really, girl? What are we doing? And then favorite character had to have been Lex. Like, I know he was bad and he was evil. He did a lot of bad shit, but man, he's compelling. Man, he's compelling. So freaking good. And like everything, like the first half, he was okay. But I think once we got into all of the, like, once he started like down that road again and started becoming really evil, especially like cloning his brother, like all these things, like it was so messed up and disturbing, but it was so juicy, so good. I love a great villain, and he was the top of being a great villain, and seeing his descent, pun intended, into villainy, into 100% evil, to the very end finding out Clark's secret, and still at his core being like, no, like, it's my birthright to destroy the Traveler because you're going to destroy the world. I'm doing this to save mankind. And like, he truly believes that. And that's what makes a great villain. And Lex is amazing. Michael Rosenbaum is spectacular. I think John Glover is the best actor on the show, but I think Michael Rosenbaum is right there with him. I think they're the best two actors on the show, and I don't even think it's close. And like, their portrayals of these iconic characters is you can't compare it. Like, I loved Lex in this series. Like, I know he's a bad guy. He's awful. He's terrible. For some reason, I'm like, I love him because of how bad he is. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so as a whole, though, there were so many ups and downs, good and bad. I think I was thinking the season as a whole was just until Veritas, really, or until Traveler, when we got to meet Swan's daughter. I think from there it got really good. So, I don't know. I don't even think it was, I would do 7.5. Like, this was not my favorite season. So, honestly, probably my lowest of seasons of my grading. So I'm going to say, I don't know, 7.5 out of 10, to be honest. It's probably one of my lowest ones. And, you know, I've stated my opinion on why. If this is your favorite season, awesome, great. I want you to know. I want to know, and I want a great conversation. So that is my season 7 wrap up. Like I said at the beginning, I want great conversation. I really do. I love talking to you guys. I love the interaction because we all love this show. But as we state our opinions, if you are disrespectful, if you are rude, if you're being an asshole, you're going to be blocked and banned. It's going to happen. I'm not going to put up with it. So That's what we're going to do. You can have difference of opinions. I want difference of opinions because I want great discussions. Just don't be an asshole. That's all I ask. Yeah. So, that was my season 7 wrap up. And I'm excited to get into the next season. So, I'll see you next time for the season premiere of season 8. I'll see you then.